Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. And as the saying goes, it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world. But as the saying goes, another day, another training session, another injury at Tottenham Hotspur. We'll be getting into it. Papa Sarr is injured. We don't know the extent. I don't know if it's a hamstring injury, but he is injured. First of all, Stel, welcome to the show for another Savva and Stel Ask Us Anything session. How are we doing? How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just trying to put on this this face of happiness, but the truth is, we're such a rubbish football club in every way possible. You're just clutching at a way to stay happy and positive. In life, no complaints. It's going well. Football, it's just Savva, man. Like, when's it going to stop? When is this going to ever end?
I'm at the stage where I think it's laughable because, like, some of us have seen this coming. Some of us were like, yeah, this is what happens when you run a club like this. But anyway, look, this is the show where we ask people for questions. We've got a few ready to go, but I'm just going to go through a few comments to say hello to people, and then we'll get stuck into some questions. I won't answer this as a particular question, but when is this hell going to end? Dan, 24 years and counting. So you make up your own mind. Big up to FC25, who's in the chat. Big up to Vinny Rowley. The two marks. Love the two marks. Big up to you guys. Finn Rickwood is in the house. How you doing, Finn? Hope you finished your studies today, young man. As I've said here, get your questions in. Get your questions in. We'll try and answer as many as possible. But that doesn't mean you don't like the show. We've been very tight on likes lately. Let's get that over at 100 mark as quickly as possible. And if anyone would be so kind, subscribe to both myself and Stel. I'm chasing down 16,000, about 180 to go. And Stel, you guys chasing down 35, 36, something like that?
Something like that.
There you go. So please subscribe to both channels. Let's get straight in. And good evening to Tot Spurs, by the way. Big up to Mamba, who's saying this guy isn't getting sacked until after the Liverpool game, at the minimum, conveniently after the window. We'll talk about that. And apologies. Listen, it's a YouTube thing. You start the show at 5, you let it go for 5 minutes so people get the alert and build up. It's kind of like the movies. It never starts at the time they say. So, good evening to each and every one of you. Still, let's get the first question in. I'll let you have a go at this. So this is from Gary Morton Barley. Big up to you, Gary, who has said, is it realistic to think that Spurs will lift a trophy this season? I emphasize the word realistic based on our current player situation. And if so, which of the 3 cups can you see us winning? Stel, is it realistic? And which one is realistic?
I've said all season we're not going to win trophies under this manager. I don't care what he says. Tactically, we're going to get caught at some point, with or without injuries. With injuries, it just makes it even more true, in my view, that we won't win trophies. Which of the trophies do I think we'll win? None of them. If we changed the manager, if we brought in a manager now who could just go up to Anfield, shut shop, lock it down, stink it out, make it a horrible game, we might have a chance. But I think Ange's going to go up there and try and, he's not going to play for a draw, and that's all we need. I just don't see him doing that. So I'm not optimistic with the trophies. But I was saying this before all the injuries. I don't think Ange is the man for Spurs, and I think one manager will just say, you know what, I know what to do, and he'll beat us. Whether it's in Europe, we'll get knocked out, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. I don't see Ange winning a trophy. I don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. Look, I know what people are saying. We're inches away from a League Cup final. I mean, but those inches are 90 minutes worth of inches at Anfield. Like you said, Stel, it's a tough place to go. Teams in Europe, the European giants, don't like going to Anfield for their European nights. And I think we're going to see Liverpool put out a full strength team. And at Anfield, I listen, hats off to him if he can get a win there or a draw. But I just can't see it. So yeah, I'm with Stel on this. I don't see better managers in Europe not taking this man out over 2 legs. If I'm honest, I don't see it still. Really,
Yeah,
don't.
over 2 legs, I don't see it either. And then, you know, this thing about Anfield, right? We saw against Brentford, they were peppering and peppering and peppering and peppering, and eventually they break through. We don't have that. We don't have that at Spurs. There's games where we've knocked on the door, but we don't break through. For example, Newcastle away. There was a game recently where against Newcastle, second half, we gave it a go, but we didn't break through because the difference is they've got Jota, Salah, Gakpo, Darwin Núñez, Szoboszlai. I just feel they've got more killers. Diaz, who loves playing against Spurs, they've just got more killers. Whereas we're hoping that Bergvall, Richarlison at the moment, Johnsons, Werners are going to do it for us. I don't see it, Savva. Maybe Kulu, but again, Kulu goes missing in these big games.
Yeah, I truly agree with you. I think again, I mean, look, with the Kulu thing, like you said, in the big games, I don't know who steps up, and I keep hearing that he's this great player, but for a great player, I've never seen a man give the ball away as much as Kulusevski does. He's got a lot to do for me to be put into a bracket of a really, really good player, if I'm honest, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not at that level. We've overhyped him. You see, the other thing as well, if you watch the FA Cup game the other night where Man United played Arsenal, Man United are rubbish. Let's have it right. They're a joke just as much as Spurs. But their manager, down to 10 men, shut shop, defended for their lives, got it to penalties, and knocked out Arsenal at the Emirates. Compare that to our 11 men at Arsenal. Just compare the two. And that's what I mean. There's managers out there that can do things, change it when the environment says you've got to change it. This isn't working. Forget what you practice on the training ground. That's not what's happening here. Can you adapt in the moment? There's managers who are at clubs that I think are worse than us right now, showing that they can. We went to Everton. We went to a back three, which we've been saying all season, play a back three. But when you've got Dragusin, Van der Ven, Romero, he goes to a back three with Ben Davies and Archie Gray. No number 6, 2 in the middle, and he inverts the fullbacks. And you're thinking, do you know what? You don't get it. I just don't think he gets it. He tried.
You don't play wing backs with inverted wing back. Like, do you know what I mean? If you play wing backs, that's your width, isn't it? That's most clubs play the back three because it allows their fullbacks, wing backs, whatever you want to call it, to be the outlets. Listen, I'm Donna. You wanna? There you go. Sorry, there you go. Stel, I think you're being asked out on a date. I'm Donna. Do you wanna?
Do you
send your number in, and Stel might get in contact with you. Who knows? Send
me your number. Send me your number.
Let's go with the next question. Before we get to the next question, I just wanted to make a point. I really feel like when Nelly, I like it when fans say things like this. This isn't a question, but when people are saying that Europa League is the easiest to win, no team in it is as good as Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, or Newcastle. Like, I truly love it when we're saying it's the easiest to win. There are some very good teams. Like right now, at the moment, the team that are second in the Europa League still are losing 3-1. They're losing 3-1 to Athletic Bilbao, who are second, are losing to Besiktas. You've got Ajax, Real Sociedad, Roma, Olympiacos, Man United, Frankfurt, Galatasaray, Lyon, Anderlecht, Lazio. I feel like we're belittling a lot of teams still in the Europa League that have got a lot more prestige than we've had lately.
Listen, we haven't won a European trophy in 40 years for a reason. And Ange was terrible in Europe when he was at Celtic. So if all right, let's put it into perspective. If Europe was so easy, why are a lot of us a bit worried about tomorrow night's game against a team that's in a relegation battle in Germany? Why are we not confident? Yeah, we'll go there. We'll do the job. Why are we not confident? Because actually, it's not as easy as what we think. And there's managers in Europe that we don't know. There's players in Europe that most of us have never heard of, but they play in systems and they play in methodologies where it works. And the manager has got it in him to adapt in the moment. And I've seen this in European football all the time. The amount of times teams get written off and then they go and do an absolute number on another team that you didn't expect to lose. And you think, how's that just happened? It's because we massively underestimate how good some of these European managers really are. Just because they're not a big clubs, there's some top managers in Europe and there's a few in the Europa League. Is Ange at that level? What's he shown us to say that he is? I don't think he's proven anything to say he is. So I think the easiest trophy to win, realistically, is the Carabao Cup. Because all you got to do, I say all you got to do, but if you can somehow come out of Anfield with a draw, you're in a final, then it's anyone's. We're one game away from a final. So I'd say the Carabao Cup's the easiest, but mate, Anfield's going to be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, no, I'm genuinely worried about going to Anfield, and again, I think he's got a dilemma when he goes to Anfield as well, still, because we're looking at the week before, if I'm reading right, is when Van der Ven and Romero will come back, and again, are both going to be match fit to kind of go straight in the week before, then straight in and play again at Anfield. Does that then change how we play? Do we go 10 yards further forward up the pitch because we got the pace of Van der Ven? Do we nurse Van der Ven back in, or are we going to ruin his hamstring again within 2 games of playing? I just think it's.
If he brings back Van der Ven and Romero at Anfield, he'll try and play Ange ball, and he'll push them higher up. And we saw what that did when we played Liverpool at our ground in the league. We were 5-1 down. So yeah. if he's going to give space in behind at Anfield, just don't even watch the game. And I actually said I'm worried that if Van der Ven and Romero comes back, it gives Ange confidence to go back to the way he thinks we can play. And it's not just that, Sam, but we've got Brentford away 4 days before Anfield. We've got Aston Villa in the Cup a couple of days after. Then we've got Man United, which is going to be a 6-point relegation battler. And then after Man United, we're off to Ipswich, which, let's be honest about it, Ipswich are a difficult team. It's not a ground we want to go to. We've already lost to them at home. And then after that, you've got Man City and Bournemouth. These are good teams, man. These are really good teams. It's like, yeah, he's got to be careful here. He's got to be careful what he does with the squad. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's very difficult.
Agreed. People like Kiri saying, I think we will look different in Europe when our players are coming back. I mean, I just need to keep reminding people of how bad we've been for a very long time before the injuries as well. And I feel like a lot of, I talked about this on my show this morning still, it feels like there's been a lot of hope put on when VDV and Romero are back, everything changes. But again, when you look at the data, right, with Van der Ven and Romero and without Van der Ven and Romero, it's the same for clean sheets. It's kind of the same for defeats. It's like 1% different on win ratio. I just feel like we're not acknowledging the tactical side of this game. Doesn't really matter who plays in that back two, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Listen, I think Ange's crap. I don't rate him, and I've said it a few times now. When people say, I think we look different, I think based on what? What are you basing that on? People say, oh, but we'll have more control of the ball. We don't look like we control games ever. I've never seen Spurs look comfortable in the game. Even when we dominate possession, at any moment, there's this big gap in the pitch that another team could exploit. If they get the ball in that area, we're so wide open playing this system. It's so risky. It so neglects the defensive side of the game. And I don't understand the train of thought where people say, do you know what? I think that once all the players come back, and I think if Ange is back, and I think that I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think we're good in moments. There's moments in games where we look really good for 15, 20 minutes, maybe 25. And then the rest of it is really poor. I think there's games where we look good, but then it's followed up by 3 or 4 very bad games or average games. Look, under Ange,
isn't it this?
We've never gone 3 games winning in a row, Savva, other than once or twice.
But look, Stel, this is the last 15 months for Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, when we're talking about, I think we'll be better when the players are back. Have a look at the sorry state of this. And by the way, I need to draw everyone's attention to where it says at the bottom, this is the 17 teams that have been present this year in the Premier League and last year. So it takes out the 2 teams that have come up and the teams that have gone down. And still, we're bottom for clean sheets in 15 months. We are 3rd bottom for defeats, 4th bottom for goals conceded. I don't know what people are seeing that suddenly when the injuries come back, apparently none of that matters. It's madness.
So what that data shows you is it's the Australian Aussie Ardealies. We've scored 97 goals, which makes us the fifth highest, which kind of backs up what I've been saying in past shows where I've said, I don't actually think there's an issue with us going forward. I think attacking wise, we're actually quite good. We create, we get into teams. We're quite dynamic. Our issue is when we lose possession, the transition into defending, we're all over the place. And actually at the back, we haven't developed or coached the individual players how to better individually defend. And that's where people say things like, oh, they're individual errors. Yeah, because it's not being coached. So for me, you look at the defensive stats, it's shocking. You look at the attacking stats, it's actually not bad at all. And that's the issue of Ange. His thinking is, as long as we score and as long as we attack, that will be enough to win most games. But the problem with that is you are completely showing a level of arrogance towards thinking the other managers don't know how to negate that. The other managers don't know how to nullify that. And the other managers don't know how to play into what you think is good to make it their strength. Classic example, Nottingham Forest. Fine. You want to do that? Do it. We'll sit back, defend like absolute warriors because we can do it. Give us that one chance and we'll educate you. Yeah. And they absolutely schooled us. And Ange neglects that exists in football. Eddie Howe did the same to us. Arsenal, they came to our ground. We were the better team. One set piece, one goal. That's all Arsenal needed. And this is the issue with Ange Ball. It's so dependent on he must score more than the opposition, even if the opposition score 3 or 4. You can't be like that. Sometimes you've got to win 1-0. Sometimes you're playing shit. Just settle for the draw, man. Just get out of here. It's a mess. But at least we've got a point. No, we've got to win. We've got to win. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. It's the game management, Savva. He neglects that side of the game where just make us solid, Ange. Make the team solid. Pochettino played wonderful football, but guess what? We were really good at defending because we were set up differently. And we had better players, you could say, to some degree. But Poch actually coached defending. He coached systems. He coached players. He made Danny Rose better. He made Vertonghen and Alderweireld better. He made Kyle Walker that good that he got sold. He brought in Wanyama as a 6 to hold. And when Wanyama was out, Dembele tucked in and Dembele could do it. He structurally set us up to handle transitions and defensive plays. Ange's, don't worry, just get that ball forward and press. Press when they've got it, and that should fix everything. It fixes a bit, but there's a big chunk of the game that he's ignoring. And how fans don't see that, I don't get. That's the bit I don't understand. Sorry, Savva. I went on a rant there, but it's what I see, man. It's what I see.
You're good. I've always said this. I think that a lot of our fans that talk, I see a lot of people in the comment sections. You can tell people who understand tactics and people who don't. I see it from YouTubers. I see it from YouTubers that say, oh, yeah, I don't care about anything tactical. You know, yeah, but you have to. Like, if you're watching an Ange team and thinking that, oh, when the players come back, we'll be all right, then it shows you don't know the tactical side of the game. Look, let's get the next question out. And by the way, please stop putting questions in now. We've got 24 questions, and I don't even know if we'll get through all of those because it does take a while to go through each one. But let's go to the next question, Stel. Oh, hang on. There you go. We've got 25 questions stored up now. Here we go. Let's go in order, shall we? So thank you, Gary, for his question. Shane O'Neill has said, lads, is it now the case that we're just stuck with this plum until the summer when we get a new manager, and that a prolonged manager search now would just be embarrassing for the board? Now, I mean, still, I'll kick this off with a different spin on this. I mean, first and foremost, this is half the battle, isn't it? Is that a lot of people don't want to see the manager sacked because they don't trust that Levy and Munn will have a plan. That they'll be able to conduct a manager search in a timely fashion. And the Ange Postecoglou search kind of showed that. The Nuno Santos search showed that. But Is that a worry for you? Is that some of Levy's thinking, that it's going to be more about being embarrassing for the board rather than what's right for the football team?
It's getting more embarrassing for the board each time we lose, because the media are intensifying their conversations on Levy and Enoch. Us as fans are pointing the finger at Levy and Enoch more and more, and rightly so, because they are the biggest poison. But I think the board have already sounded out the next manager. Not that they're going to bring him in now, but they've probably got in touch with a couple of managers and said, look, if we sack our manager, would you be able to come on short notice in the next week? Something like that. I think they've already done that. I think they've also decided whether or not, if they don't bring another manager in now and they decide to sack Ange in the next couple of weeks, I reckon they've already spoken to Ryan Mason and said, look, Ryan, if we've got to move Ange on, are you okay to carry it on for the rest of the season? So I think that's already been done. I think if Ange does get sacked, I don't know if he will. If he does get sacked, I think Ryan Mason will already have been made aware that he's taking over, or the next manager will be ready to come in within a week and take the reins. I think that's already put in place. I think there are contingencies there, because, yeah, it is, because the history's shown us that's what's always happened.
Do you know what I think's interesting? I feel like, forget the name. I mean, let's be fair. If Mason comes into the end of the season, let's say somebody else for 6 months, 5 months, a new manager. I just feel that a lot of these players, there'll be a kind of weight off shoulders if you get someone that just goes back to basics. You know, I think you've got a lot of footballers there that are playing out of position, that are being asked to do things that they've not been asked to do before, because that's not their position. And I think there could be that kind of collective resurgence, so to speak, should a new manager come in. Is it embarrassing for the board? Look, I mean, has Daniel Levy ever cared about how embarrassed the board are? I don't know. At the moment, though, bad press is picking up for us. I mean, Manu Petit and Jamie Carragher the other night absolutely ripped us a new one, and they were 100% spot on. I saw people going, "Oh, that Arsenal mug, that Liverpool mug." Say what you want about them, they were 100% spot on. Look, we'll go to the next question. So thank you very much.
Savva, do you know what? I'll tell you one thing. If he does sack Ange, I think the one good thing that will come of it, other than we can actually get a manager in that's better, is that a lot of the fans who defend Ange and make excuses for this absolute abysmal level of managerial and coaching inability, those fans, I think, will actually call it a day and clear off. And do you know what? Good. I actually wouldn't mind if there was a bit of a reset with the fan base as well. I honestly mean that. There's so many fans, I feel, not huge, but there's enough that defend failure, accept mediocrity. It's okay. Be patient. Give it time. Are they patient at Forest? Are they patient at Bournemouth and Fulham? Is that a project process? You know, they all seem to get it.
Who sacked their manager today?
I don't know who got sacked.
But Borussia Dortmund sacked their manager.
Oh yeah, Dortmund. Right? Yeah.
4 defeats in a row. See you later, mate. 10th in the Bundesliga. 4 defeats in a row. See you later. We're sitting here after 15 months of crap form going, he'll turn it around. He'll turn it around. You're right. West Ham still. West Ham bought a manager in the summer, and they literally, after 18 Premier League games, turned around and said, he's not met the targets we set at the beginning of the season. This is not what we want. And I'm looking at West Ham going, how can they do that? And we've got half our fan base. Our fan base was laughing at West Ham 3 months ago. They're above us.
We were being laughed at for saying that, look at their signings, and because they were below us. The funny thing is as well, these people that defend this, the only excuse they've got to defend it is, but look at the injuries. Okay, but why are so many injuries happening? We've got evidence that this happened at Celtic. There's conversations coming out that he warned the medical team, guys, be prepared for more hamstring injuries this season. Pape Sarr's now got injured. This isn't just bad luck. What happened to Bentancur was bad luck. What happened to Vicario was bad luck. Van der Ven, Adogi, Sarr, Solanke. This isn't all bad luck. They're overworked. They've not been rotated when we've had chances to rotate in games and in earlier in the season. Classic example. Why not start Lancashire at Tamworth? You needed a goal the other night. Why doesn't Lancashire get a go? So the excuse of injuries, half of these injuries are on the manager as well. He's part of the injury crisis, Ange. So, they can't keep using this as an excuse when it keeps happening. I just don't like it when I'm called toxic and poison, but yet I've been right about what was going to happen this season, what was going to happen once we signed Werner, and what's going to happen under Levy and Enoch. The toxicity comes from the fan base that accepts the club they've got. You know that saying you've got the club you deserve.
Yeah.
They're the ones who make it toxic because they accept it. They're accepting this, and that's where the toxicity begins. They're like, this is okay. This is fine. It's okay. Just breathe. Give it another 25 years. It's okay. It's all right.
I've actually ordered some
shirts. It really
isn't. I've actually ordered some shirts with a cockerel, and it says "You've got the club you deserve" on it, and I'm going to start selling it on my YouTube channel soon.
I'll buy one. I swear to God.
You've got the club you deserve. Context and consistency. What are we doing here? I've got all the catchphrases are going to go onto a t-shirt. Let's quickly go to some super chats, and then I'll get back to the questions. First and foremost, from a user, big up, always a big supporter of the channel. I think he's a bigger supporter of your channel as well. Rather put pins in my eyes than see Mason in place. Look, a user, I'll be honest. If you said to me that Ange will go, we'll get a new manager in the summer, and it meant that I had to suffer Mason for 4 months, I'm all over it, because I don't think this man, we've seen when this man takes charge, he doesn't do any of this silly inverted highline nonsense. So for me, I think Mason gets a really bad rap. I don't want him as manager, but if it means he can be in place while we actually have a manager search, I've got no problem with it at all, because I think Ange is that bad. But big up to you, a user. Appreciate that. And Mark Taylor come in and said, can't believe Ange, 58, 59 lovers believe in a manager who has never been scouted for a top league job. I mean, look, Mark, I think it's the age-old thing, isn't it, where you never know how good someone's going to do until they're actually in that position. And unfortunately, I think what we've seen is not even just through results, but just through tactical ineptity. That's not a word, is it? I've completely made that up. Just through how tactically inept he is, I think we've seen that this guy doesn't know how to change, doesn't know what to do. He's the only person I've ever seen play a three at the back with inverted wing backs coming into the midfield. I just think he's out of his depth. But Mark, love you to bits, man. Thank you so much for that. And D&B Forever has just come in with his regular 99p super sticker, and when I had them up over the year, D&B Forever, thank you so much. You are always very kind and generous. Thank you very much, my man. Thank you. Let's go to the next question. Cold Shot said, Football Heritage TV, that's me. Do you think the reason why we haven't gotten anyone yet during the transfer window is because they see the state of the manager and injuries that we have at the moment? Now, Stel, this is an interesting one, right? Because I was having this conversation with James and Mark this morning on my show where I said, yes, we know we need footballers. If you are Levy, and I know we don't like him, but if you are Levy, are you looking at this and going, you know what? I can't give this. I don't think this manager's going to be here much longer unless we have a miracle. I'm going to see this out, but I don't want to give him any more money, because normally what we have seen still, I know we don't like him, but what we have seen is when Spurs are normally in a bit of trouble, Levy does get his checkbook out. Those are the moments where he does spring into action. And this window, we've not done any. I mean, I'm not counting a goalkeeper. We've got 7 goalkeepers, but we've not done anything. So where are you at with this whole, should he be buying him? Should he be backing him? If he's not backing him, should he be sacking him? Where are you with all that?
I think Lange is absolute crap. That's what I think. I think we've got one of the worst football directors we've had in ages. There's rumours saying Paratici stepped away from the club now from the advisory role. If it's true, apparently he's not happy with Lange. They disagree. I'm not surprised. Look, Savva, we actually looked like we had something half decent going on. Okay. So Conte came in. Fans were excited because he's elite. Paratici came in and he actually did quite well as a football director for us. And you could say, do you know what? Maybe things are turning here. Conte's gone. Paratici's gone. We brought in this Scott Munn, right? Who is he? What does he do? He brought in Ange and Lange. They're here because of this guy, and both of them are incompetent. In the summer, he brings back Werner, signs a bunch of kids, of which 2 we haven't seen, and Solanke. And we all said, what have we just done? We've got 5th. We're back in Europe, and you've done that. Really? Do you know how many games we're going to play this year? The wheels have come off. We now get to January. We're going to sign Moani. No, we're not. I said it as soon as the rumors came out on your show, my show, his show, their show. I said, no, we're not. This is what happened in the summer. We're going to get Neto. We're going to get Tony. We're going to get Gallagher. Blah blah blah. We're not getting Moani. We didn't get him. Oh, but we're getting Skriniar. No, we're not. I said that. No, we're not getting Skriniar. He's gone to Galatasaray today. We were told we're signing Sam Johnson. Spurs are going in for Sam Johnson. No, we're not. We ended up getting Kinski, right? We will get someone with a couple of days to go, Savva, random player on loan, a Danjuma, a Longley, a Bergwijn, an Nkudu, something like that. They'll have no impact. They'll get 1 or 2 goals, maybe so everyone says, wow, brilliant. Then they'll fall off a cliff like the rest do. The only reason we actually bought Porro in the previous windows was because Levy was petrified of Conte. He was shit scared of not doing something to keep Conte because Conte would blow it up. That was out of fear. And then you look at the Kulusevski and the Bentancur signings in January a couple of years ago. That's because Paratici used to work for Juventus and he had links at the club and he managed to get them on the cheap, right? Yeah. That's the only... Kulu we didn't pay money for. It was a loan deal. Then we had a choice to buy him later. Bentancur was like 12, 15 million quid. So Paratici was able to do a cheap deal. Now you've got Lange there. What's he going to do? If we bring in another kid, the fan base are going to go ballistic. So he's got to bring in someone experienced. Levy's not going to pay 30, 40, 50 million pounds for a player. No chance. So he's got to try and find an experienced player for about 15 to 20 mil. Good luck. Because we need a hell of a lot more than that. So I think what you're seeing now, Savva, is a transfer window where you haven't got Paratici there. You've got Lange. And what the club would like to do, they can't do because if they do that, more kids, the fan base are going to lose their minds. So we're stuck. We're now stuck. And I think they're just hoping, Savva, that Romero comes back, maybe Vicario comes back and it'll all change and we'll all be fine. I think that's what they're doing. And what kills us, sorry, I'll wrap it up because I've talked quite a bit.
Yeah, go on.
What's killing us, you've got our manager, the biggest waistcoat yes man you've ever heard in your life, saying, the club are doing everything they can to bring in, to help me. They're really working hard. Oh, are they? Oh, really? Man City have signed 4 players. Man City have signed 4 players. That's working hard. There's what do you call it? Galatasaray got a Skriniar. That's working hard. What have we done? Who is it? Didn't someone sign a Dortmund winger this week, a Premier League club?
Donny Marlon signed for Villa,
right? From
Dortmund.
That's working hard.
Villa have already signed 2 players. They bought Daniel Marlon and Garcia from Levante. Right. So
there you go. But we're working hard, Savva. Our manager, Ange, who people defend, he's telling us, but we're working really hard to help me. No, we're not. We're not doing a damn thing. We've given him a kid in goal, and that's it. That's all we've done. It's crazy.
Look, and again, I suppose this all comes back to that. Has he been, as I said this morning with Mark and James, I think there's a difference between has a manager been backed to win things versus has a manager been backed that they shouldn't be 15 in the Premier League table, right? And look, listen, I agree. If I'm Levy, and it's really difficult to say this without sounding like I'm backing Levy, but I'm not. If I'm Levy, I'm not giving a penny to Ange Postecoglou. But in the same breath, if I'm Daniel Levy, I'm sacking Ange Postecoglou. And the thing is, still, the strange thing about this time, I've never, I mean, maybe you guys can tell me in the chat, maybe Stel will give me an example off the top of his head. I've never seen a manager this bad and Levy has not pulled the trigger. Like, this is the worst one I've seen of all the managers Levy's hired. This is the worst one, hands down. And he's the one that is not getting sacked. And again, I go back to Danny. Danny, big up to Danny at Hotspur Hood. He said 3 months ago that we will get through the transfer window. We'll do absolutely minimum. If we buy anyone in, it will be a kid that's got a future at a club rather than a ready-made oven-cooked player. And then he will sack Ange and a new manager will come in, see out the season, and then we'll only have to back them in the summer, not in January as well. I completely believe that. I really, really do. Look, let me get to some super chats and some more comments. Vindaloo's here. He said, towards the bus parade to the championship, Vindaloo, shouldn't you be worrying a little bit about your own club not winning things?
Arsenal fans need to calm down.
These Arsenal fans are brilliant. I mean, listen, you've taken your lack of success and laughing at us. I get why we're laughing at us, but hey, it is what it is. And then, sorry, my fault. You might need a double decker and put in a second one. That's pretty funny. So thank you, Vindaloo, for that. And Ricardo has come in and said, look at how good Ange has made Brendan Rodgers look. Let that sink in. Well, look, and I think you can always tell when a manager leaves a club, I think you start to see how good was that manager. How does the manager do after him? And Brendan Rodgers has gone into to Celtic after Ange, and everything's the same. They're winning everything, but they're better in Europe under Brendan Rodgers. I think that they need Celtic are playing tonight, if I'm not wrong, against Young Boys. That's not the age, by the way. That is the actual name of the team. So Celtic have got Young Boys today, and I'm pretty sure that if Celtic win tonight, they move up to within 1 point of the top 8. And then they'll have Villa, if I'm not wrong, on the last day of the Champions League group stages. So, look, thank you very much, Ricardo. I completely agree with you. Just remember how all our fans, when Brendan Rodgers was the favourite to take the Spurs job at one point, we all turned our noses up. I want to say a public apology right now to Brendan Rodgers. I would do anything to have Brendan Rodgers in charge of my club. That's how much I don't rate Ange Postecoglou still. But look, thank you very much, Ricardo. Let's get to another question. Aaron J, big up, Aaron. How are we doing? I can see where this is going. Out of all 20 managers, what number would you rank Ange? And what manager would you put the spot above him? And what manager would you put the spot below? This is nice and easy for me still. There isn't anyone that I'd need to put the spot below him. I think he's the worst manager in the Premier League. I think he is truly dreadful. And I think somebody has kept saying it. I can't think who it is on our show still. Said if this guy had picked up a club like a Palace, like a Wolves, they'd be going down with his style of football. They'd go down because he doesn't know how to grind out wins. The manager directly above him from the Premier League, well, it's quite difficult to say, isn't it? Because nearly everyone at the bottom of there has changed their manager. I don't know. I don't know with that one, but I would have Ange bottom. I think he's the worst manager in the league. I think he is woeful to take a Tottenham Hotspur squad to 15th. Stel, what says you?
I'm looking at the league table now. I'm looking at every club and ask myself, would I take their manager? And
should we bring it up?
We bring it up? Yeah. I think my answer is yes, I'd take all the managers except for 2. I don't think I'd take Graham Potter. I don't think I would.
Mate, I'd take Graham Potter over Ange Postecoglou 10 days of the 7-day week. I don't care. Every day of the week and more. I can't stand our manager. I'm embarrassed that this man is at Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd take Graham Potter personally. I don't think I would have taken the Leicester manager, but they've replaced him now. So Van Nistelrooy's there, so I don't know enough about him. And then the only other one is the new Wolves manager. I'm not sure of, but I think my answer to this question is there's 17 managers I would definitely take over Ange.
Yeah.
In the league. Exactly. I think that's my answer. There's 17 I'd definitely take.
Yeah. Absolutely. Bring back Nuno. All is forgiven, Nuno. We were too hasty. Where's the next question? By the way, there's a lot of chat comments going on in the chat. I'll try and get some of them as quickly as possible. But
Savva, do you remember the last time we spoke? We were saying you think that Forest might drop off, and I said to you, Savva, I think they're gonna be there.
Mm.
I really think they're going to be there. You know that. I think they're going to do it.
There's a question about Forest coming up.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah.
You shut up. Sorry, the dog's getting aggy. Delphi Restaurant has said, if we avoid relegation, does that mean Ange won the relegation battle in his second season? Delphi
Yes.
Restaurant. The thing I would say, the thing I would say is what's more embarrassing is what we would have is we'd have a lot of fans that like Ange saying he did a good job keeping us up. That's the reality. If we finish 15th, 16th, 17th still, we're going to have a section of fans that say, he did a good job keeping us up. And that's where we're at as a club. And this goes back to your earlier comment about I'd like a reset with some of the fan base, because this is not the fan base I used to know from being a Tottenham fan. This really
yeah. I don't understand the fan base we've got anymore. I get we can disagree on tactics and players, and we can disagree on some things, but there's certain things, I just don't like the way the fan base all admits that there is a problem with or most of them admit there's a problem with the ownership, but we just accept it. It's like, yeah, well, they're not going anywhere. We can't do anything about it. That really infuriates me. And the other one is the situation we're in now. For fans to tolerate it and to accept it and to defend some of the decisions the manager's made, that's not the main reason, but a significant reason as to why we're 15th. It beggars belief. Mm. We spoke about it earlier on. Lack of rotation, tactics, inability to adapt in a game when we're up against it, not giving certain players an opportunity when others are not doing so well. His reluctance to play young players when he should, and then they're forced in when maybe they shouldn't have been forced in. The injury crisis, he is partly culpable for that. There's a track history, a record there. Yep. All these things seem to be ignored, and it's just all covered up with one word: injuries. It doesn't work like that. I think if we were 8th or 9th, we could say, do you know what? Fair play, man. There's injuries. There's a reason we're not in that top 6 mix. We could. I think we'd all maybe agree on that. But when you're 15th and you're giving teams like Everton 3 goals when they haven't been able to score 3 in about 400 years, they haven't won a game in about 4,000 years, and they just looked hungrier, stronger, more fight, and we looked wide open, disorganized, and all over the shop. You have to say, do you know what? I've seen teams that aren't good, that don't have good players, but they put up some kind of fight, or they're structured in a way where, man, they're shit, but they're so difficult to get into. They at least give it a go. We literally walked on that pitch, pulled our pants down, and said, "Go on, then have a go. Form a queue, OnlyFans camera on." And we just got absolutely battered, inside out. And our fans ignore that. It's almost like, but that never really happened, did it? All they focus on is, Basuma's injured and so's Johnson. That's it. Game over. Surrender. Those 2 players are so great that if they don't play, we just lose 3-0. All right, great. Okay. And that's the bit of the fan base I can't stand. That's the bit of the fan base I just find very, very difficult. And it's the same ones that said that we were going to finish 3rd and 4th with this squad, knowing that we had Europe and Cup games this season. It's them that are doing it. It's the ones that said, do you know what? We're going to get 3rd this year. We've got a really good squad. They knew we were going to be in Europe. They knew we were going to be in Carabao Cups, FA Cups, leagues. They said the squad was good enough. Oh, really?
Mm. No, I agree. By the way, I'll tell you what I also find really difficult is the fact that we've got 658 people in the house and 177 likes. So we haven't even got a third of the likes. please, guys, we should have over 300. And we've had 5 subscribers tonight. We should be getting 15 to 20 with this many people in. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. We're only 170 away from 16K, which may not sound a lot to you, but to me, you know, starting the channel from scratch by myself, I'm pretty happy with that. So please do help along the way. A lot of comments going on in the chat, which I think are quite interesting. But let's get to another question. A user, by the way, with a super chat said, if not covered already, Sarr joins the injury list. Yeah, we didn't talk about Sarr per se, but I think the problem we talked about, a user, was it's not a coincidence now. We seem to be picking up an injury or 2 per week. And I think when you get to that stage, if I'm the owner of this business, Stel, I am going down to the training ground, speaking to the medical staff and saying, what is going on? What are these injuries? Are they all the same thing? What's causing this? And then I'm going to the manager and going, hang on, listen, you did this at Celtic. It's now happening again. So listen, I've got no sympathy from at all, but thank you very much, a user. Let's get to a
Savage, you know what I would do, honestly? If I know I've got 2-3 games a week, I'm not even joking. I would honestly say to the players, right, for the next 3 weeks, we are just going to play matches. We're just going to play matches. Make sure you get good sleep. Make sure you don't eat any junk food. Don't indulge in drugs and alcohol. No smoking, none of that. Look after yourselves. Just turn up for matches. Go for a light jog just to keep yourselves the blood flowing, and do stretching. Just do stretching and light jogging. No training. Just only on match day we play football. Just to stop the freaking chaos of what is going on, man. Like literally, if we train, another player is going to get injured. It literally is train, breaking news, injured player. Right. 2 days later, another training session, breaking news, injured player. Stop training. Stop training until 50% of the injuries come back.
Yeah.
Just lock the doors. Don't let anyone into the training campus. Go on. Just go for a jog around your neighborhood and do some stretching. Make sure you do your stretching and turn up on match day. We play football on match day.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I think it's absolutely crazy. By the way, Stefan has said, watch Ange leave and win somewhere else. I mean, but it all depends on the context of where he goes. Like if he goes to a league where he's got the best team, like Celtic, yes. But if we're talking about watching him go, which top club is going to take Ange after seeing everything awful he's done at Spurs? I can't imagine any director of football worth their salt is going to look at Ange and go, tell you what, boss, Ange Postecoglou's become available. I genuinely can't see it if I'm completely honest. I can't see it.
He goes to the Middle East or Asia where the competition is weak. Like if you went to the Philippines A-League or the Qatari A-League, yeah, maybe he'll win a trophy.
Polarized said, what fan base did I know then? I think this is in regards to me saying this isn't the fan base I used to know. Well, the fan base I used to know, didn't praise players like Brennan Johnson. The fan base that I used to know and grew up with didn't watch people like Brennan Johnson and say, oh my God, this is great. We didn't praise the signings of people like Dominic Solanke. When you're talking about, is this the same fan base that accepts mediocrity and is thankful of finishing 4th at best? I think you've got to understand certain things. I think there was a time where finishing 4th was very, very good for this football club because we hadn't done it before in terms of the Premier League era. And we were actually looking like we're on an upward trajectory. For me, it's what comes after the finishing 4th that's the problem. How are we kicking on? How are we pushing forward? So I feel like it depends on your age, Polarized. But when I was growing up, no one would have settled for this manager. No, when I was growing up, no one looked at this manager and went, yeah, let's back him. Let's back him because he says that. That's not how it worked. Fans loved Ozzy Ardiles when he first came in, right? Club legend. How quickly, do you remember, Stel? How quickly were we all like, nah. Jerry Francis did really well till he didn't. Nah, see you later.
Leeds fans worshipped, absolutely adored Bielsa. He was their messiah. Look how that went.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. So I think it all depends on the age of people are. But what I have seen from this newer era of Spurs fans and the newer Spurs fans is they say things like, "Oh, Tottenham have been crap for 20 years." And it's like, well, no, we've not been crap for 20 years. Have we won a lot of trophies in 20 years? No, but the majority of those years we finished in the top 4 or 5. So it's not been crap. Hey, but it is what it is. So big up to you. Let's get to the next question, Stel. Ricky Proctor has said, question for Savva. Do you feel helpless about your club, that it would always be like this due to the ambitions of your ownership? I feel like that with Arsenal ownership. Look, I'm gonna stick up for, I can't believe I'm gonna do this, and Stel's gonna hate me saying this. I'm gonna stick up for Levy and Enoch a little bit here, because when we talk about, do I feel helpless about my club being like this? Well, under Levy and Enoch, I've not seen my club like this before. And as much as we want to have a pop at them, we can have the conversation about them winning league titles and not winning enough. But I don't remember Stel under Enoch being 15th with a manager that had won 1 in 10 and in 50 games was bottom of form, bottom of clean sheets. So I don't remember it being like this, but the ambition of the ownership is a different. Do you see what I mean, Stel? I think there's two different things we're talking about here with where we are right now versus the bigger picture of ambition.
I don't think you can compare Arsenal's owners to Spurs. Kroenke came in and took full ownership 5-6 years ago. In his first season, they won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Since then, he's invested £800 million, stood by the manager, and what they've done is rebuild, but with quality signings. They didn't sign Johnsons and Werners and lots of kids, and keep certain players at the club that have got no right to be there, like Ben Davies. Why is he still at the club? Fraser Forster, why is he still at the club? And what they did was they put themselves in a position to win the league. Now, the season last year, Man City won the league by 2 points. Go back to the game at Aston Villa at home. Arsenal lost that game. Fine margins. Arsenal win that game, they're champions. They were in it to win it, man. They went right to the end. 2 points, they didn't win the league. Go back to the season where Man City won it with, I think, 4 or 5 games to go, and Arsenal were 8 points clear, and they completely capitulated. Questions should have been asked about Arteta then, because when they lost Saliba, he didn't adapt it. I think that's why he's quite defensive minded now. He almost feels like that cost us, and he's overcompensated. That I would argue that. But if you gave that Arsenal squad over the last 2 years to Ancelotti, Pep, I think they win the league. I think the issue at Arsenal at the moment is Arteta's done well to get them to where they are, but he's not the man to get it over the line. That's what I think. But you can't criticise the board. The man before the man. You can't criticise the board. They have rebuilt Arsenal. They've reshaped them. They're one striker away from, I think, being top of the league, because their XG's high. They're creating a lot of chances. They can't bag it in the back of the net. This is
if you stick Gyökeres up front for Liverpool, for Arsenal, if you have Gyökeres up front all season, for me, they're top of the table.
Yeah, they're 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
And the Kroenkes did put money in this summer, but they spent it on Mourinho and Raheem Sterling's. That was the wrong move, in my view. They got that wrong. Easy to say in hindsight, but now we can say, well, you have got that wrong.
Yeah.
Spurs, you cannot say the Spurs owners behave like that. You simply cannot say that we operate in that way. We don't. We don't do that. We had a great chance under Poch to do that. Built a really good team, right? Go and sign 2 or 3 really special players now. Go and get them. We didn't do it. And then we paid the price. And we've been paying the price ever since. So I don't think you can compare the owners of Arsenal to Spurs. And also, Savva, Arsenal's owners have got a track record of winning the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, ice hockey. The franchises they've bought, they've won the major honours. And they're trying to do that at Arsenal, I feel. They're not quite there yet. Our owners have got no history of success. Even when they owned AEK Athens, Spartak Prague, they were a disaster. Those fans wanted them gone. This ownership is nothing like the Kroenkes. We're not even. We are the BlackRock, the Goldman Sachs, the Barclays capital of football. On the football pitch, come on, man. These owners don't give a shit. They don't.
Yeah.
I think the Cronkies do care a lot more than what Levy and Enoch do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, guys and girls, there's nearly 650 of you in here. Come on. Can we at least get 7 added onto that? 15, 8, 2, 3. Come on, people. There's got to be 7 of you that haven't subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed to Tottenham Away, please go over there and do that as well. There's other channels that they're not happy that we're growing. So let's make them even unhappier and keep us growing. Guys, big up to TJ. How you doing, bro? Hope you are well. Big up to you, my man. Tommy has said Savva Stel is actually a Levy super fan. He shaves his head to be just like Levy. Fraud. I take it you know, Tommy. If not, you're just getting cussed. So
yeah, big up, Tommy. Big up
to you, Tommy. Let's have a look at some more questions. Here's an interesting one. Robbo71 has said, does Van der Ven need to leave Spurs to save his career? Now, this is an interesting one, right? Because he's only a young man, but for a young man, he's having a lot of hamstring injuries. And what the history of football has taught us is there are certain injuries you can get which won't affect your career. Hamstrings, not a good one. Hamstring is not the one you want to keep going. Does he need to leave Spurs to save his career? Still, there's your question.
No, Ange needs to leave to save his career.
I like that. Robbo, what do you think? I think that's the perfect answer. I think if Ange stays, Van der Ven needs to leave. I think if Ange goes, let's see. I want to see what I've always said still. I want to see what Van der Ven is like in a more traditional orthodox back four. You know, when we're not seeing him use his pace to get out of trouble. Now, I'm not knocking him. I just want to see how do him and Romero fare in a proper back four with a proper manager that sets his team up properly. But listen, thank you, Robbo71 for that. Dave Hamilton, great question. It's a question for you guys. Why do you think some fans refuse to see what's happening? Well, this could get me in trouble with my answer, so I'll let you go first.
No, can you go first?
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, look, I think that a lot of it is ego. I think a lot of it is in life, people don't like turning around and saying, I was wrong. For example, if Ange Postecoglou somehow finishes 4th and wins the Europa League, I have to turn around as a fan and go, very wrong. I was really wrong about the manager, right? Problem is, all these people finish that. Oh, he's missed. Pender, I think. All these people that did videos saying we're going to finish 3rd, we're going to finish 2nd. You know, we've got a great squad and watch what Ange does. All the Australian fans telling me you don't know what Ange does in his 2nd year. I think these people have been so wrong that rather than go, oh, shit, yeah, I've been wrong, they double down on their answers now. There's a reason for everything. It's in the summer, I wasn't hearing these people predicting 3rd talking about Daniel Levy. Now these people can't stop talking about Daniel Levy. And Daniel Levy's been doing these things for years. That summer, this isn't new. So for me, I just think a lot of it is ego and pride that people don't want to turn around and say, you know what? I might have got a football opinion wrong because it's a football opinion. Who cares if you get a football opinion wrong? It's a football opinion, right? I turned around this season. I said that I think Man City are going to win the league. I've got that wrong. It's not hard to do, but still, as RB Leipzig go 1-0 up against Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League, by the way. Stel, what do you think? Why are people refusing to see what's right in front of them?
I don't think they refuse to see. I think they refuse to admit it because they're so desperate for Ange to work. They're so, huge levels of copium for him to work that they can't just admit this isn't working. Also, where does that leave them? If you've put all your chips on Ange at the casino, you've gone all in. You've gone all in. They've gone balls deep. They've literally gone diving in, 2-footed. Yeah, I'm committed. okay, well, when you do that, there's consequences if you don't win the ball, and you haven't won the ball. You know, and this is where we're at, Savva. It's. I think some of it as well comes from the fact that if they admit that it hasn't worked for Ange, they now need to point the finger at Levy, and they're petrified of going there. They're petrified of saying this ownership is a problem and we've got to do something. I think it's a few layers of thinking. Also, there are some who are just absolutely fucking deluded, like genuinely deluded.
Oh, for sure. They're the same ones though that will say if my opinion, I won't talk about you, but if for example my opinion's been right on football, they're the same ones that will say you wanted to fail to say you were right. Why would I want that? Why would I not want to be wrong and Ange goes on and wins the league? What comfort do I get in going, yes, we're 15th? I'm utterly embarrassed.
What makes me laugh about people that say that is if you go to both of our channels and look at the most popular videos we've done, people that view them,
positive ones,
it's when we've won and we're actually enjoying it and we're actually smiling and laughing and saying how fucking good is that player, how brilliant was he. The viewing figures don't lie, right? YouTube are the ones that post them. They tell the world that that's how many people view the video. If you go to Tottenham away, the top 10 most popular videos are me celebrating, Iggy doing a video saying how happy he is that we've signed a certain player, me outside the Emirates bantering the Gooners after we got a draw. It's when we've found some success. So when people say, oh, but you want us to lose, mate, I want my channel to do well. And that mostly comes from when we win, when we actually get results. I also want to be happy as a Spurs fan. And that comes from when we play well and we're a good team that I actually believe in. And also, I want to see my club win a trophy, man. Like, I want to see Spurs lift silverware. So why would I want us to lose? But that's an easy thing to go to deflect away from where the opposing view has got no arguments. They've got nothing. They've got no leg to stand on. So it happens all the time. Look, when we were saying in the summer, this transfer window is going to cost us. Re-signing Werner is an absolute disgrace. And his tactics are questionable. When we said these things, we're poison, we're toxic, we're negative, go support Arsenal, you hate Spurs. Now, where are these people in the chat? None of them are here, Savva. None of them are in your comments. None of them are in my comments. Why is that? It's because actually we didn't want Spurs to lose and we didn't want Spurs to fail. We were saying, how can we win? How can we be successful if these things that we're pointing out aren't being addressed? And now it's all come to fruition. There you go.
No, I agree. I agree. And by the way, I wholeheartedly disagree. Swanex, big up my bro. I love Swanex, but he says if Ange wins the Carabao, Ange outers might have to review their stance. No, for me, winning the Carabao Cup, if we finish 15th, doesn't change my stance on him as a manager. Yes, well done. We've won a trophy. Brilliant. I'll always be grateful for that. But when you look at what he's doing in the league, I can't just... Maybe for a short period of time still, I can turn around and go, all right, I'll forego what's happening there. But in the long term, I've seen enough in 18 months to make me realise this manager is dog shit, rather than me going, oh, he won 4 games in a Carabao Cup run. Listen, I don't think he will win it. If he does, maximum respect, because it would have meant he's beaten Man United, Man City, Liverpool, and Newcastle or Arsenal. But for me, that will make me say fair play, but I'm not going to suddenly go, oh my God, I was so wrong. He's a brilliant coach. Win the Europa League, I'll have a little bit more to say about it. Yeah, but not winning a Carabao Cup with 4 or 5 games to win the competition. So how do you feel about that still in terms of the Carabao Cup?
Spurs, if he wins the Carabao Cup, I'll do a public apology. This is just me. I'll do a public apology to everyone. And I will not say anything about Ange for a whole season. I'll give him a whole season next year. But he's not going to win the Carabao Cup.
Don't say something you can't stick to. You can't go live every week and not say anything about the manager. You can't. Come on.
I said the wheels would come off at some point this season, the day we signed Werner. I said, this is a sign of things to come. I've seen this pattern before. I'm watching us play and I'm watching how open we are. And there's no way he's winning the Carabao Cup like this. You know, we've got 1, 2, 3 games before Liverpool in the space of 7 days. We don't have a squad. We've got more injuries. And I said it, I think, on my channel on Monday night. I said, I don't care if players come back, because for everyone that comes back, we're going to lose another one. There goes Pape Sarr as Romero's coming back. It's just, this is where we are now. The board aren't going to do what's needed right now in this window to bring in the reinforcements. So for me, this is going to get worse. And we're going to go into Anfield. We're literally going to crawl into the stadium, and we're not going to go through. So I'll say it because I'm that confident that we're not going to win this trophy, Savva. Not because I don't want to. I just don't believe it. That even that 1-0 win against Liverpool, I wasn't wowed by it. I was surprised we won, but I wasn't wowed by it. I didn't look at that and say, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, look, and I think what people have to listen, let's get through the second leg first, right? I think people have got we're not there yet. It's a 2-legged affair. The thing that would worry me is at the end of that Liverpool game at home, I thought I looked at the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Salah, and they almost looked really calm, as if to say, all right, we'll get you back to Anfield. So we'll see. He's got his toy. So we'll see what they say. So we'll see what they say. We'll see what happens at Anfield. But look, for me, win a cup, brilliant. But I'm going to just remind everyone what happened to the last 2 managers that won us a cup. One day Ramos won us the cup, sacked 8 games into the next season, right? What happened to George Graham? Won us a cup, sacked the next season. Just winning a League Cup doesn't suddenly make you a great manager. It means you've done well. It means you've done well in a competition. But for me, I can't watch this tactic week in, week out. Just me personally. I don't enjoy it. I don't have any affiliation to it. It doesn't make me proud to be a Spurs fan. But we'll see. If he wins it, I'll respect him for the day. But if he wins it, our fans will go so overboard, like we've won a Champions League. They'll be hailing him as the greatest manager ever, blah, blah, blah. It's just a bit crazy. But listen, this person said, Savva, would you bring in Tim Sherwood at the end of the season? Mate, if you said to me right now, Tim Sherwood's coming in for 4 months, I'm all over it. I'm all over it. If you actually look at what Tim Sherwood did when he came into Spurs for the last 5-6 months, he didn't do badly. He didn't do badly without any signings of his own. I'll take it all day. Still, if it meant Ange getting sacked, would you get Sherwood in for half a season? 4 months?
I'm not Sherwood, no. I'd rather Ryan Mason, honestly. I'd take honestly this is bottle of the barrel conversation. My God, listen to this. What do you know? If you're a neutral fan tuning into Spurs channels right now, you must be thinking, what the fuck are they talking about? Tim Sherwood or Ryan Mason? No, it's crazy. I'll take Ryan Mason, not Tim Sherwood, and they're both crap.
Yeah, do you know what? If you actually look at Sherwood's record, though, it wasn't actually too bad. But listen, this is how much I don't like Ange. I genuinely believe if you bring in one of these managers, they will keep it simple. They'll go back to basics. And I think if we went back to basics, I don't think we're a terrible team. Anyway, but it is. I'll
tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing Tim Sherwood would do. He wouldn't do press conferences and do conversations saying it's on me, we're working hard. He'd say it as it is. We'd get some reality checks. We'd get some realism back. Not this, what can I say to make everyone warm to me and fall in love with this shit show? He'd actually say, this is crap, unacceptable. He'd do a bit of a Conte, but maybe not full Conte, which actually, do you know what? Bring Sherwood in. I mean, Savva, I'm up for it. Bring Sherwood in.
By the way, again, revisionism here. When you're saying not sure about Tim, he said the club is miles off top 4. Next manager got top 4. Hang on. I think you're making it out like you got to remember when Poch came in, his first season wasn't amazing. And if I'm not wrong, he didn't get top 4 in his first year, did he? Let me have a look. Pochettino, Spurs.
No,
hang on.
Poch came 6th or 5th in his first season.
Right. So what you mean to say is, Matt, Not sure. He said the club is miles off top 4. The next manager came in 2 years later. We had top 4. Right? I feel like there's a big gap in the middle there.
Can I also say the season Poch got top 4 that summer, he got rid of 12 players, the likes of Zeki Friars, and he brought in some decent players, and he rebuilt the team. The emergence of Kane came through the ranks, so there was a lot of change in the second season when we did get top 4. A lot of things changed at Spurs. We actually, that's when we had Paul Mitchell, and he was actually doing a great job for the club. Paul Mitchell was actually signing the quality of player that we need.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, didn't he come in? So we finished 6th. If I'm not wrong, we finished 6th under Sherwood.
Mm.
Then Poch's first season was 14-15, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we finished 6th under Sherwood, 5th in his first year under Poch, and then in the top 4 the next season. By the way, RB Leipzig are 2-0 up against Sporting Lisbon, playing really well. So it was 2 years in that gap. But, and by the way, Tim Sherwood didn't have any of his own players. He came in and took over from AVB, if we're not wrong, and didn't actually do a terrible job from what I can remember. Just from what I remember.
No, we saw in the first season under Poch, the last 3 months, there was this big progression. Spurs began to look like they were beginning to replicate what he was doing at Southampton, which is why we hired him, because Southampton were a very exciting team back then with James Beattie and Wanyama, and it was beginning to look that way. And in the second season, we just, we exploded. By the way, one of the goal scorers for Leipzig, Benjamin Sesko, Arsenal, they're looking to sign him in the summer as their striker. Yeah, apparently, a lot of clubs are interested in him.
He's a top player. Is Sesko. By the way, listen, I'm not saying bring back Sherwood, but I was asked the question about Tim Sherwood. All I know is, if we look at that season, I'm looking at them right now. In the season when Sherwood was there, Tottenham won 21 league games in the season when Sherwood was there, and in Poch's first season, we won 19. So I think that sometimes we've got to go back and have a little look at context. For me is a really big thing in football. Tim Sherwood picked us up mid-season and didn't have any signings. I actually thought he did okay, but he was never going to get the job full time. And then Poch came in. The rest is history. Can
I just explain to people how shit we are under Ange? People say, 24 points. This is the worst since 1977, right? I looked into this, and it's true. This is the worst since then. But do you know what people don't tell you? In 1977, you got 2 points for a win, not 3. It's even worse.
And in that season, that was the last time we'd lost 12 of our first 22 games still. That year, we went on to lose 21 games as we got relegated. 21 games as we got relegated. And that was in a 42-game season, not a 38-game season. So Tottenham are on course to have our biggest ever number of defeats. So I'll tell you what, I you know me, I like to
what, Savva, people laughed at me 3 weeks ago on my channel. I had people in the comments just saying to me that I'm fear-mongering and I'm reactionist when I said, guys, we play Man United on the 16th of February. That is going to be a 6-point relegation battle game. And they laughed at me saying, whatever. I'm getting emails now saying, Stel, do you really think we might get relegated? I said to them, there's a 6-point relegation battle coming up. That Man United will be a relegation battle game. I wasn't joking.
I agree. I mean, mate, look, if you look at this, and by the way, the column that everyone should be looking at is, hang on, let me blow that up a tiny little bit. There we go. Let's go to 150. Oh, that's blowing it up a lot. Right, so the column you want to be, can you see the cursor, my cursor on the screen? Can you see that? Is that moving?
Apparently Chelsea have signed Osimhen.
Have they?
Someone in the chat's put it, yeah.
Hang on. But someone's in the chat has put it, or hang on, let's have a look. Has it been announced? Hang on, no. Romano's just announced that Mawani, the deal to Juventus is on. Omar Mamouche is done. They've signed all the documents. I haven't seen
Okay.
anything about Dam's. Oh no, New Deal. Look, Stel, I want to look at this. Right? Can you? If I do this, can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Right. So if we look at this, one here, right? If we look at this, right, this one here, that is the column we're all looking at, people, right? So Spurs, this season of this isn't this season, by the way. This is last season. So we've already matched last season's defeats in 16 games less. Let that sink in how shit that is, right? So the number of defeats, if we go back, how many defeats do you think we'll end on this season, Stel? We've got 12 at the moment, 16 games to go. How many more games do you think we'll lose this season?
Let's look at the fixtures. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say 6.
Okay, so let's say we lose 5 or 6 games. That takes us to 17 or 18 defeats. So everyone, look at that column where I've highlighted the 12 at the bottom. Let's scroll up and see when the last time we lost that number of games was, right? So before people are going, oh, you know, we've always been crap under Enoch and Levy and, you know, oh, Ange just got it really tough. Well, let's have a look, shall we? So 12, 14 there. So we're 2 away from that. 11, 12, 11, 13, 7, 4, 6, 12, 11, 8, 9, 8, 10, 15 in 08, 09. That was the year where we lost 6 of the first 8 under one day Ramos and he was sacked. 14, 12, 9, 14, 19. So here we go. This is where you're positioning us just there or thereabouts. In a year where we finished 14th in the Premier League, that was 21 seasons ago. Right? We're going back. People said they didn't want to go back to this era of losing 16 games, 16 games, 15 games, 15 games, 16 games, 18 games. Still, I don't want to break it to people. Unless he stops this rot, we're back there.
Well, this is what people say. They say, but look what Levy and Enoch have done for the club. Do you remember the 90s? Yeah, I do. We're back in it.
Yeah.
We're right back in it. Brian Daigle's been saying it on social media for the last 2 weeks. Like this is for all the new fans who aren't as old as us. And when you hear stories about the 90s, this is it. We are back there now. This is what it was like.
Just with 2 trophies in the 90s and much better footballers. You know what I mean? But look, I mean, I don't think we'll lose another 10. I mean, if we lost another 10, that would...
Well, how many games are left?
16.
How many games are left?
16.
I reckon we lose a third of those. So about 5 or 6.
I do. I reckon we lose 6. If
we
lose 6...
You're gone. Sorry.
If we lose 6, that's 18 league defeats in a season.
I will caveat this by saying, if we don't beat Leicester on the weekend, I think we lose 10. If we can't beat Leicester at home, I'm saying we're going to lose 10 because some of these games, I'm saying, come on, we'll beat Ipswich away. You know, we'll beat Crystal Palace at home. I will add them to the list as well. I'll start saying, hold on, if we can't beat Leicester at home, that's it. I don't know where we win. I don't know who we beat. In fact, Savva, if we can't beat Leicester at home, I don't know who we can beat.
No, I agree. If we can't beat Leicester at home and he's not sacked that very night, there's got to be questions asked about something is wrong. If he can't beat Leicester this weekend and then it comes 1 win in 11 and that 1 win was against the worst Premier League team there's ever been. But again, when you look at this, look at Sherwood's record. Look at Sherwood's record over 22 games. Right? Now look at the 22 we've played this year under Ange.
Yeah, the points.
Now, bearing in mind, this is the record with him picking up someone else's team still. Now look at the record this year. Ange's been here 18 months. His record is played 22, won 7, lost 12, drew 3. Is it drawn 3? Drawn 1-7, drawn 3, lost 12. Right, and a 1.09. This guy had a 1.91. By the way, I'm not saying bring Sherwood back for the long term, but if you said to me right now, get Sherwood in that dugout, Sherwood would get a bit of pride into those footballers. He'd get a bit of pride into them.
we're genuinely hated by the owner. You know that he absolutely hates us. The one season we want Levy to be Levy and pull the axe. He's not being Levy. The one time we actually want him to do a Levy thing, he's like, nah, not this time. No, but we want you to do it this time. Like, we want you to be Levy. I didn't want you to be Levy when Conte was here, when Potts was here, when Redknapp was here. But now, can you just be Levy? He's like, nah, not this time.
Where's the Levy we know and love that likes to pull the trigger? Where's that Levy gone?
Like, I want my Levy back. Where's my Levy?
Yeah, we want our Levy back. It just makes no sense. Big up Mikal, who has said Stamford Bridge, Anfield, Villa Park, Brentford, City at home, Craven Cottage, Molineux, West Ham away. Listen, we've got some very losable games. We've got. It's mad.
This is. See, look, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, there's about 7 games there. So when I said 5 or 6 games, I think that's about right. I think it's about right. Savva, just give me 1 minute. I'll be back. Just 1 second.
Yeah, no, go on. You're right. You're right. Savvy, Leicester will set out to play Tottenham. I don't know what that means. You said how will they set up to play against Tottenham? I just find it very, very funny. Whichever way people look at it now, and what I do find funny, guys and girls, is I've been told now for over a year that every time I present some facts and stats that I manipulate them. I don't know what else, I don't know how I'm manipulating this. I don't know how bad it has to get before the rest of the fans get on board. And almost as though if you want a manager out, it makes you a bad fan. I don't understand that. But I think we've got to win. I think we've got to win this weekend. Any breaking transfer news, Savva? Well, let's go over to Sky Sports News. I don't think there is. I'm just going to check Romano for you, Angus. Sky is saying Nottingham Forest, one of 5 clubs interested in signing Cunha, but there hasn't been a bid yet. Wolves are adamant that Cunha is not for sale. Karim Adeyemi. Borussia Dortmund received a direct approach today. Wow. So Napoli are looking to buy Karim Adeyemi. Napoli mean business. Paris Saint-Germain have terminated the contract of Juan Bernat. So look, there seems to be a lot of stuff happening across Europe, but just none for us. That's an interesting player. Adeyemi is definitely the sort of winger I would like at Spurs. A player who gets the ball lightning quick and actually, does that thing. What's that thing? That thing. Yeah, takes his man on. Listen, he looks like he's going to Napoli. Napoli also look like they're trying to sign Dorgu. And I also saw today that they're also trying to sign Garnacho. So Napoli are moving crazy. And it is what it is. Let's get back to some questions still. Yes, Barbaric Disdain. Like when Eddie came on and said, can I verify my stats? I mean, I don't need to verify these. They're verified by Sky Sports. Verified stats. There they are. Haven't seen my man Eddie for a while. Since he came on, Spurs have not won a game. Let that sink in. Other than Tamworth, since Eddie came on, Tottenham have not won a game of football.
And Cam Tilly's another one. He's gone missing.
Yeah, mate, they all... Cam Tinley was in here earlier, still, giving it the old...
was he?
Oh, what was it? Some nonsense about Ange, give him time. And, let's go for the next question, shall we? I think, have I missed no? Swan, 55, I said, guys, gun to your head. Thank you. When does Ange get the sack? I mean,
big up, by the way. This is Anthony. How you doing, Anthony? Hope you're well. He's from the United States of America. He's fed up of the board. He can't stand the manager. He's an American version of us.
Oh, is this the guy that comes on my show? He came on my debate show sometimes. Yeah. Big up to you, my man. When for me, I think lose to Leicester, he has to go. I don't see how you can survive. Can someone in the chat let me know how many?
We said this about the Everton game. We said this about the Wolves game. We say it every game. It's like this guy's got a black belt in survival, man.
But Leicester are bottom 2. Hang on, if we look at the form guide, aren't Leicester bottom of the form table? Leicester City are rock bottom of the form table. They've lost like their last 7 in a row. If Leicester City come to Tottenham Hotspur and even take a point, he's got to go. Like he's got to. There can be no arguments, surely.
Leicester City. Let's look at the form table. So Leicester and Southampton have both got the worst form in the last 5 games in the whole league. This is why I said to you, Savva, if we can't beat Leicester at home, then we're going to lose another 10 games. I think we will beat Leicester, but I've got a little concern because I've been watching Leicester play, and Van Nistelrooy, he's got them organised. There's some shape to them. You can see an improvement. They're not taking their chances, though. But this is what I said about Everton. I said they were unlucky against Aston Villa. Don't write them off, but they can't take their chances. And then they put 3 past us in like 40 minutes. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the day Leicester put 2 past us and we end up with a 2-2 draw. I wouldn't be surprised because I can see something changing at Leicester, but their form is awful, man. It's worse than ours. Like, what's our form at the moment? Let's have a look. Spurs are currently
you look at the last 10 games.
Well, actually, we're not. Something to be fair, we're only 1 draw in the last 5 games separates us from Leicester's form.
And if you look at the last 10 games, last 10 games, form table, right? Last 10. Tottenham have got 5 points out of 30. I mean, which is absolutely disgusting. Leicester City have got 4 points out of 30. And if we take that a step further, let's go for the last 15. For the last 15 games, Tottenham have got 14 points. So out of 45 points, we've got 14, and Leicester have got 8. But look, Stel, Leicester City at home, they're 7 on the bounce. Surely, if he loses or draws that game, what on earth can the possible reason be for keeping him? And I don't want to hear that we've got Liverpool in a few weeks in a semi-final, because it's just no big club acts like that. No big club watches. Can anyone name me a club? Here you go. Here's a question. Can anyone name me a club, a so-called big club or medium club, that sits and watches this form over 50 games and keeps the manager? Over 50 games, that form we showed, and keeps their manager.
See, if he loses to Leicester, we've then got potentially a must-win game at home in Europe to avoid going into the playoffs. And then our next Premier League game is Brentford away. Like, if you don't beat Leicester, you can't have him in charge against Brentford away, because we know what's going to happen. We can already predict what's going to happen at Brentford away. It's a no-brainer, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, lots of people are coming. Big up to D-Trix. Lots of people are saying this now, that the quotes are coming out now saying, yeah, the club is working hard to get some help for the players. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing imminent. But in the last week of the window, who knows? I mean,
blah 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 blah.
I hate to break it to people, but these people, this is their job all year round. Still, their job is they activate on the 1st of January. That's their job. Their job is, this is what we've been planning for, people. And Spurs have managed to get a 21-year-old goalkeeper. And it just beggars
I'm
belief.
telling you, we're probably speaking behind the scenes to Besiktas about some Turkish 19-year-old that can come on loan and play left or right wing or something, and that's going to be the big news. We've signed Hakan Suker's third cousin.
Yeah, Jeff said, yeah, what big club sack a coach? Yeah, listen, Jeff, I agree with you. I think the difference now is, if you look at that time, Jose Mourinho, right? You know, people are saying, oh, you can't sack Ange for a semi-final second leg. Well, Jose Mourinho was sacked when we were about 6th, 7th, weren't we, in the league?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this guy's sitting 15th. I just don't understand it. But let's go to another question, shall we? Here we go. So Gary has said, the idea remains to bring in at least 2 players from now to the end of the window. Sure.
The idea.
Sure.
The idea was to challenge for the league as well this year, according to Ange, remember?
Yeah. And by the way, Just read that Juan Bernat, who has just had his contract terminated by PSG, the reason for that is so that they can make his loan to Villarreal permanent on a free, and it frees up space for Kolo Muani to join them on loan. So that is why Juan Bernat is going on a free from PSG. He's going to Villarreal, and Kolo Muani is going in. By the way, Brentford have just signed a player to watch out for, Coyote. Look out for Coyote. He's a good player as well. Brentford have this knack of scouting really well for their level. Let's have a look at some more questions.
Of course, they've signed a good player because Spurs are playing them in a week. Savva, I'm telling you, if we don't beat Leicester, that Brentford game is going to be absolutely diabolical. We are going to have one bad day at the office against Brentford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This sounds like a Spurs deal. Romano's announced that Djurgården, the Swedish team, have verbally agreed a deal to sign a 17-year-old from brilliant. That's Tottenham all over, isn't it? Mikael Damsgaard has signed a new contract at Brentford. I like him. He's a good little player. Ronald Araujo's new deal at Barca will be valid until 2031. He signed a new 5.5-year contract. Just trying to see if there's anything concrete coming in anywhere else. Understand Juventus have sent a loan proposal to Chelsea for Renato Vega. That's an interesting one. So all of these clubs across Europe seem to find these deals, these loans, and I just don't know what we're doing, but maybe it means he's going. If you said to me, Stel, we're not signing anyone in January and he's going to get sacked on February the 1st, shut the window right now for me. Shut the window right now. Let's go to some questions. Val, big up Val, has said, is Scott Munn affecting Levy's decision to sack Ange? I'll leave that one with you, Stel.
Well, who owns the club, Scott Munn or Daniel Levy? When has anyone ever stopped Levy from being Levy? No, I think the reason. No, I don't. I don't think Scott Munn is. Levy, when push comes to the shove, Levy's his own man. He always has been. He always will be. Right. Scott Munn's there because he's a yes man. He'll do as he's told. Lange is there because he's a yes man. He does as he's told, and so is Ange. They're all yes men, all corporates, all yes people. A lot of them. Levy's the big cheese. I don't think so. Of course, Munn might be saying that stick with it. It's a process. You never know. For all we know, Munn might be saying you got to get rid of him. I think I've got this wrong. Like, we don't know. We're going to find out over the next 2 weeks what's really going on. Something will give eventually.
Yeah. Here we go. Ben Jacobs has just tweeted this.
Here we go.
Ben Jacobs, I don't know how much stock I'm going to give in it, but Saudi deal makers intent on signing Vinicius Jr. and are prepared to spend a world record 350 million euros. Al Ali in mind, but Al Nassr and Al Hilal have also expressed interest. Nothing possible now, but Vinny Jr. a concrete and ambitious Saudi target. So all of that just to say that it's not possible. God, this is a strange world we live in, isn't it? It's a strange world we live in.
Do you know something? If you're a football club, you'd bite their hand off and take that kind of money. That's incredible money. But if you're a footballer,
if you're Vinicius Jr., do you want to go to Al Hilal when you're at Real Madrid?
Well, do you want to earn £100 million a year playing in Saudi Arabia? Are you happy to make your 20-odd million pounds just playing in the best leagues, in the best football clubs, with the best atmosphere, the best fans? I don't know, man. I think there's only so much money you can pay someone before you don't enjoy the money anymore. And I think going to Saudi Arabia, playing in a shit league, no European football, where's the enjoyment?
Yeah, no. I completely agree with it. I completely agree with you. Listen, we've got another 15 minutes or so. Let's see if we can rattle through some questions. It's My Face. I love that name. Has said, is this the biggest, worst run club in the world? You'd have to say yes. What other club our size can you think of that's been this dormant for this long?
Are we the worst run club? If you're looking at business, no, we're one of the best. If you're looking at football, there's no bigger club than Spurs in any league that wins nothing. Even in Germany, if you look at the big boys, they all take it in turns at some point to win something. Same in Spain, same in most leagues. In England, out of all the so-called big clubs that are called the Big Six, and we are the worst run. The fact that we were the only club that when we were accepted into the European Super League and were the only team that hadn't won a trophy in 15 odd years in that group, that tells you that we are.
Well, here's the next question. Thanks for that. It's my face. Alf, big up Alf. Alf is the Man City fan who came on to my show a month ago and wanted Pep sacked. I always have to level that at you because I still think one of the craziest takes I've ever heard. But Alf has said this: do you think Spurs will finish top 10 this season? Now, Stel, before you answer that, let me just show you this so that you've got the full picture. If we're saying will Tottenham finish top 10 this season, here's the Premier League table, and Tottenham are currently 9 points off the top 10. So whatever Spurs do, it has to be 3 games better than whatever the likes of Fulham, Brighton and Villa do to get in that top 10. Spurs have to have, for example, if Fulham win 6 of their last 16, Tottenham need to win 9 of our last 16 to go above them. So what do you reckon, Stel?
16 games left. No. I think the best we'll get is we might, but we need to go on an unbelievable run, which we've never done under Ange. We've never gone on a run of more than 4 games without losing ever since he's been here. So, in fact, my answer is no. No, we won't.
Yeah. I can't see it at this stage, Alf. I genuinely can't believe I'm sitting here on the 22nd of January saying this to the Spurs fan base. I genuinely can't see how we finish top 10. We would need a really good run of games and hope that many teams above us have a really bad run of games. And as somebody put up earlier, as Mikhail put up earlier, we've got a lot of tough games in this last 16. I can't see it. I really can't see it. Who else we got here? Mamba has said, in all seriousness, here we go. In all seriousness, are Forest a bigger club than us? Not just because they're top 4, but they're acting like a bigger club if the Cunha news is true. Now, Stel, this is an interesting one, right? Because for me, I think, first of all, we're hearing that they want to bid for Cunha, but at the moment, there hasn't been a bid, right? I mean, you hear this all the time, don't you? So-and-so are going to put in a bid, but listen, they may be interested. They might be talking to his agent. And for all we know, his agent might have turned around and gone, you haven't got a chance. He's going Arsenal. He's going Liverpool, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Can we say Forest are a bigger club than us, Stel, when for the last 20 years, I think they've spent about 18 of it in the Championship? Can we is this a bit, not saying this person, but is that a little bit reactionary, a bit right nowism and a bit knee-jerk to suggest that?
No, Forest are not bigger than Spurs, no. Not at all. They've got their history in Europe because they've won 2 Champions Leagues when it was called the European Cup. So by that metric, you can say, well, hold on, they're bigger than Arsenal in Europe because Arsenal don't win anything in Europe. But no, they're not. They're not. Forest aren't that big club. They're not. No. Yeah. Not bigger than Spurs, no. We see it, Savva, we see this all the time. We saw like when Leicester City won the Premier League and they got into the Champions League. Are they now bigger than Spurs? Well, look at Leicester now.
Yeah.
They're more successful than Spurs in the last 15 years, but they're not a bigger club.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Chris Organ saying, didn't we win 6 out of 7 early this season? We did, but if you actually look at that 7-game run, it included Coventry, Karabag, who else was it in that? Ferencvaros. We haven't got that sort of a run coming up again. So it's a huge difference between beating some really poor teams and now we're playing better teams. Thank you very much for that question. Let's go to the next one. Question of the 19 managers in the league, who will you hire? It will be an interesting exercise to go through every single one. Well, we kind of did this earlier, didn't we? Where we said, literally, Stel said he'd take 17 of the 20 managers, and I said I'd take all the others. So I'm at the stage where I'm looking in the championship now, going, who wouldn't I take? Like, that's how bad. I'm wondering if Wayne Rooney's available. Like, that's how bad I think our manager is. Tongue in cheek, of course.
Savva, if I could pick one manager, right, I'd pick Arne Slot, because that's the manager I wanted when no one was talking about him. When we were when Conte left, I said, get in Arne Slot. Right, that's the guy I said, and I explained why. I went on We Are Top TV. The video's still there. Having said that, I would like to see what Iraola can do with Liverpool's squad, because for me, pound for pound, I think he's one of the best managers in the league, Iraola. He reminds me of what Poch was before he came to Spurs. In fact, maybe slightly better. So I would take Arne Slot because he's proven, but I'd take Iraola because he reminds me of what I've seen from Poch, and I like that. So they're the two I would take. The Thomas Franks, the Silvers, I wouldn't say no, of course not. But if I had to pick, it's Slot and Iraola.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, listen, I'd take Iraola. Look, I'm a fan of Glasner. If I'm honest, I'm a fan of Glasner as well. I think Glasner's style of play would absolutely suit the squad that we've got. I'd take Silva. I'll take Frank. But Iraola, for me, there's something about him which looks really appealing. And by the way, I'm just looking at the Man City team tonight. Massive game for Man City in the Champions League away to PSG. They need to win it to have more chance of automatic qualification. And listen to this. So they've got a back three of Akanji, Diaz, and Vardiol. Listen to them going forward outside of those three. They've then got Nunes and Kovacic as a midfield two. And then their forward five is De Bruyne, Foden, Savinho, Silva, and Haaland. That's not bad, is it? That's not a bad front five. So Man City playing away at PSG. And
our fans say, yes, Richarlison's back.
Yeah, Richarlison's back. Where are we? Emmanuel said, hi, fellas. Hello to you. Do you think Levy has dug himself a hole he can't get out of due to his mismanagement with transfers and the noises starting to get louder? I'll answer this. No. I know Stel might not like my answer, but listen, Daniel Levy runs the football club. When we're talking about getting himself into a hole, who's getting rid of him? Who's sacking him? I'm sorry, that's just my take. I know we're probably slightly different on this, Stel, but I just I
agree for different reasons. I don't think he's dug himself in a hole because our fans have surrendered. Our fans have given up. Our fans are not interested in taking action. And I specifically say the main influencers, the ones that have got YouTube channels and podcasts who you see on the Talk Sports and the Sky Sports, the ones that can influence thinking, the ones that the media goes to for Spurs news, none of them are interested. So as long as that stands, I'm actually doing a video on this tomorrow. Check it out. I'm doing a video on this exact issue. Whilst that's the case, Levy hasn't got any holes that he's dug because, like I've said, man, look, I get the tissues. We've done the old Real Madrid at Spurs. The fans have done this. We've surrendered. We've completely surrendered. So that's my thinking. Others might disagree.
No, listen, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. We'll go for two more questions and then we'll wrap up. And by the way, please do subscribe to both myself and Stel if you haven't already. And where are we at with likes? We've got 330 likes, so we've got about 50%, which is better than nothing. Let me check that I haven't missed any super chats. No, I haven't. Let me go for the last couple of questions. Presario Computer, big up to you, has said, my question, don't you think this team is better suited to play counter-attacking system like 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 like what Conte used? Many thanks to you, Savva and Stel. Stel?
Yes, we've said it many a times. We said we look better in being a transitional team. We've said many times we're better having the defence deeper, the fullbacks not inverting and then springing counter-attacks. We actually look quite good at it. We've said it many, many, many times on many, many channels.
Yeah, we have indeed. We have indeed. I can't see any reason why we don't do that. And by the way, not these stupid fans that go, "Oh, well, he tried it against Everton." No, no, no. I'm talking about doing it properly. If you're going to play wing backs, have wing backs. I want my two wing backs as outlets. I don't want them playing in central midfield. Have them as outlets. Big up to you, Presario Computer. We completely agree with you. Where are we? Let's have last question of the day. There's still quite a few, but go for the last one of the day. This is not going to be the last question because I've no idea what this person's on about. Said, how can we reconcile quantum mechanics and general relativity into a single theory? Mark, lots of words that don't mean anything to me, but thank you for the question. Really enjoyed that. Great question. What Spiros and Donny has said, while ENIC run the club, what does it matter what manager comes in when we all know it will end the same way? So there's no point in all this hand out and what manager will take over debate. Look, Stel, I've always said, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. We've had managers that have done very well under Levy. Now, have they got over the line? Did we back them enough where we go, there's the last push? Maybe not. But when people say, does it matter who manages the club? Still, I can't get over this. Of course it bloody matters who manages the club. Of course it does. I don't care who the chairman is on match day. Do you know what I mean? Like at 3 p.m., all of that goes out the window for me. And I want to see a manager with a tactical plan. So, of course, it matters for me. What says you?
Yeah, by the way, big up to Spiros. We used to play poker together every Friday for about 10 years. Some classic good times back in the day. Good times. But, yeah, I think the two are separate. I think, look, Poch, Redknapp, even Conte, they got us top four. We were good under them to some degree. But I think what Spiros is saying is it doesn't matter what we do manager-wise. Whilst leaving ENIC here, are we going to win trophies? And that part I agree with Spiros. I think whilst leaving ENIC here, we're not winning jack shit. Never. And I've said that. That's why I've been protesting for 5 years. But that doesn't mean we should accept the absolute maximum rubbish that we're seeing under this manager. So I'm in the middle on this one. I'm in the middle.
Yeah, listen, I'm a firm believer that, you know, when you see the last 20 years, we've never done this bad. So I absolutely think it matters who is manager for me. I truly do. And look, I've gone on record many times. That's the worst manager I've ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur, ever. I'm not mixing my words, ever. But hey, I've received a lot of abuse and a lot of hate for that over the last year. And now it's all starting to come true. I think people are starting to panic and back chat. Mark, I know it was. What do you mean? I am chilled. I just had no idea what you were talking about. Maybe you'd been watching what's that film called about Stephen Hawking's? The Theory of Everything, maybe.
I haven't watched it. Sorry.
No watch along tonight. No, I'm tired. No watch along tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. We've got a big day tomorrow, haven't we? We've got what we got. We got a morning chat with Savva at 10 a.m. I might be joined by Brian Daigle for that one. He reckons he's going to be up at 5 a.m. And then we've got the watch along. It is tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, the watch along. But Tottenham Hotspur away at Hoffenheim. Huge game. I'm going to say it. Lose that, he's got to be sacked. We know he won't, but lose that, he's got to be sacked. Just before we go, Stel, I want to show everybody the UEFA table. Hang on, let me just make that a bit smaller. Going to show everyone the current table for the Europa League. This is where we're at. Let's get rid of that banner. Stop screen, present, share screen. There we go. Stel, I know it sounds really silly. How important is this that we get the win tomorrow? We're currently ninth. I'll take the top team out. We're currently ninth. You would assume that some of these teams above us are going to pick up points in the next 24 hours. If we don't beat Hoffenheim, can we kiss goodbye to an automatic spot, in your opinion?
What's below us, Savva?
Here we go. Look at that. There's a lot of clubs near us.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 clubs that could jump over us as well. And then we've got to compete against them as well. Yeah. So yeah, for me, if we don't beat Hoffenheim and 2 or 3 of those teams below us do win as well, then I think we're in the playoffs. We're not automatically qualifying. So so to answer your question, looking at that, if we don't beat Hoffenheim, then we're in the playoffs.
Mm. Yeah.
In fact, is the playoffs from 9 to 24?
Yeah, the playoffs are 9 to 24. So I think ninth place, if I'm not wrong, would play 24th place.
So 27th, can we? We'll get the playoffs. We'll get the playoffs. Worst case, which adds more fixture congestion in between FA Cup, Carabao Cup, League, and it's more games, more travelling. Yeah, well, there you go.
It adds an extra 2 games. But let's be fair. I want to just cast people's minds back. We are ending the show. It's 3 minutes to 7. We're ending the show in the next 2 minutes. But still, I just cast my mind back to all the arrogance of people saying, "Yeah, we'll win 8 out of 8." The arrogance after the first 3 games of people saying, "Oh, Galatasaray's a free hit." You remember those people? It's a free hit.
Do you know what? When we first started YouTube, I remember the channels, and it was really good football conversation. It was genuine football conversation. And then over the last 2 years, egos, money, clout all came in. And now what you've got is you've got a YouTube and even a podcast environment where people, they talk absolute bullshit just to be liked, just so people can say positive, optimistic. And what we don't have as much now is just some really good, just genuine, honest chat based on logic, some evidence, and a bit of common sense. It's lacking. We don't have it as much. It's there, but not as much. And especially the younger wave of fans. In some ways, I feel sorry for them because they don't know what they're fucking talking about because they haven't been around long enough to know. But the other part of me feels like, but we're telling you, people are actually trying to challenge you and you're declining the challenge. You're not even acknowledging the fact that there's some data to suggest that what you're saying makes no sense. That bit I don't get. But look, each their own, Savva. Everyone's going to have their views and opinions. But like I say, once upon a time, people thought the moon was made of cheese. But hey, it's an opinion. You're allowed to say it. The moon's made of cheese. There you go.
Yeah. Prediction before we go. We've got 60 seconds. Prediction: Hoffenheim away. Everyone's got hamstring issues.
1-1.
1-1.
I think we're going to draw. Yeah.
Yeah. It's my worry is I don't know if anyone saw this. Just quickly before we finish, I don't know if anyone saw this. So Hoffenheim a week and a half ago lost 5-0 to Bayern Munich. I don't know if anyone knows this. They lost 5-0 to Bayern Munich, and the Hoffenheim player, I can't think of his name for love nor money. The Hoffenheim player was interviewed, and it was one of those interviews still where the world sits up and goes, "Wow!" And he was literally saying, he literally said, they were going, "What's going on at the moment? The club are in a relegation battle," and he was literally saying along the lines of, "Yeah, Kramaric." And he was literally saying, "If I speak, I'll be in trouble. The truth will come out. You'll see," like all of this kind of stuff, and you're like, "Oh my gosh!" And somebody sent it to me and went, with the caption, "Don't worry, mate, you got Spurs next week." It was just sort of like they've gone and won their game this weekend, and now they've got Tottenham at home, and you just know Hoffenheim are going to be up for it from the beginning.
If we lose to fucking Hoffenheim, I mean that they were almost on the same run as Leicester. Savva, I listen. I'll say this now: if we don't beat Hoffenheim, we're not beating Leicester on the weekend. We won't beat Leicester.
Like, if we don't beat Hoffenheim, he shouldn't be in the dugout for Leicester at the weekend. If he doesn't beat Hoffenheim, that's then. Do you know what that record would then be? Still, that would be 4 Europa League games without a win, 1 Premier League win in 10. Like that would be 14 games in those 2 competitions, and the only win Southampton. How does he survive that? This man, when they say cats have 9 lives. This man must have like 9,000 lives. Like I've never known anything like it.
I told you, he's got a black belt in survival. He's a ninja.
He is.
The Aussie ninja. The Aussie ninja.
He is. He has. But listen, guys, girls, by the way, earlier on in the Europa League, I think Athletic Club Bilbao lost, if I'm not wrong. I think
4-1.
Athletic Club Bilbao. Huh?
4-1. 4-1.
Yeah. Wow. So they're one of my favourites to win it. They lost. They're 5 points clear of Tottenham, but I think they've done enough to qualify. Stel, thank you so much. Really enjoy these shows. So thank you very much. When are you next live for people to tune in?
Yeah, I normally go live on a match day, but I'm not doing one tomorrow because I'll be honest with you, I just can't be bothered. There's only so many times I can repeat myself. So Sunday we'll be back after the Leicester game about 9:30 at night, and I'll be doing a video tomorrow, I think, on just the situation at Spurs regarding the fans. So yeah, check that out. It'll be going live tomorrow at some point.
Ellie, are you calling Ange the Greek Houdini or Stel all right? Or or is this just a new film you've seen?
All Greek people.
All Greek people, Houdinis. Listen, big up. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everybody who has smashed the subscribe button today. Please subscribe to Stel on your way out. Please subscribe to me on your way out. Please smash the like button. We're aiming for 16K by the end of the Spurs review on Sunday.
Just one more thing. If anyone likes the tactical side of the game and wants a bit more of an understanding, I'm on a platform, same as Savva. It's called Big Up. If you go to Big Up and do a search for Tottenham away, I do these tactical videos about an hour. I break it down for you. I think you'd find it somewhat insightful. It gives you a bit more of a viewpoint of what's going right and what's going wrong. So go check that out.
Yeah, it's like for Monday Night Football, people. It's really good. Good technology. Yeah. So check Stel out over there. Guys, go and spend some time with your loved ones. More than likely, I should say, you're not going to do that. Go and watch all the Champions League football tonight. I'm back live tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I'll see you then. Much love. Take care. As always, Ange out, Levy out, Enoch out. Come on, you Spurs.